It started with a scream, a cry in the middle of the night that sent neighbors running to their windows. When police arrived, they discovered a brutal crime scene, a victim silenced forever. But this case was different, because someone had been there. A witness. Someone who claimed to have seen everything. And yet, years later, questions still linger. If a witness watched it all unfold, why did the truth remain hidden for so long? It was October 12, 2012, a chilly Friday evening. Rachel had picked up her kids from school, made them dinner, and tucked them into bed with a kiss goodnight. According to neighbors, the lights in her home went out around 10 p.m. But just before midnight, something happened. A neighbor, Henry Wallace, who lived directly across the street, later told police he had been standing by his window when he saw movement near Rachel's front door. A man, tall, wearing a hood, walked up the steps and entered the house. Henry assumed it was Rachel's boyfriend, someone he had seen her with a few times. He thought nothing of it. But then came the scream, a sound that jolted Henry upright. He rushed back to the window. Through the half-open blinds of Rachel's living room, he swore he saw the man strike her. He saw Rachel fall, and then, silence. Henry froze. Should he call the police? Should he run outside? Before he could decide, the man left the house, walking quickly down the street and disappearing into the shadows. Inside Rachel's home, the children slept through it all. At 7:15 a.m. the next morning, Emma and Lucas woke up and wandered downstairs. What they found was something no child should ever have to see. Their mother, lifeless on the living room floor, her body partially hidden by a blanket. Emma ran to a neighbor's house, screaming for help. Within minutes, Maplewood police arrived. The scene was disturbing. Rachel had been beaten and strangled. There was no sign of forced entry, no valuables missing. Her purse, phone, and keys were still in the house. Whoever had killed her wasn't there for money. They were there for Rachel. Police canvassed the neighborhood, knocking on doors, searching for anyone who had seen or heard something. That's when Henry Wallace stepped forward.
I saw it. I saw the whole thing.
At first, investigators felt relief. A witness could mean a quick resolution. Henry described the man as tall, wearing a hood, possibly in his 30s. He said he couldn't see the face clearly, but the build and the way the man moved matched someone he had seen before. Rachel's on-again, off-again boyfriend, Mark Johnson. Mark was a local contractor, known around town as charming but hot-tempered. He had been dating Rachel on and off for about a year. Friends said the relationship was rocky. Rachel wanted stability. Mark wanted control. There had been fights, arguments that spilled out onto the street, but Rachel never reported any abuse. Police brought Mark in for questioning. He admitted he had been at Rachel's house earlier in the evening but insisted he left around 9:30 p.m. He claimed he went home and stayed there the rest of the night.
He's wrong, he said. I wasn't there. He didn't see me.
Investigators pressed harder, but there was a problem. No DNA, no fingerprints. Nothing that tied Mark directly to the crime. Henry's account was all they had. The case should have been straightforward, but it wasn't. Mark had an alibi. His neighbor claimed she saw his truck parked outside his home around midnight. That didn't mean he hadn't slipped out and back, but it was enough to create doubt. Worse, Henry's credibility came into question. When police interviewed him again, small details in his story began to shift. At first he said he saw the man enter through the front door. Later he said it was the side door. At first he said the man struck Rachel with his fist. Later he said it looked more like he was choking her. Investigators began to wonder, had Henry really seen what he claimed? Or was he just trying to be helpful, inserting himself into the case? Months turned into years. Leads dried up. Rachel's family begged for answers, but the investigation stalled. The case went cold. It wasn't until 2018, 6 years after Rachel's death, that the case took a shocking turn. Advances in DNA technology allowed investigators to retest evidence collected from Rachel's clothing. To their surprise, a partial DNA profile emerged. And it wasn't Mark's. The DNA matched another man in the system. A man with a criminal history of burglary and assault. His name was Derek Collins. Derek lived only 3 blocks away from Rachel at the time of her death. He had been arrested several times for breaking and entering, but here's the chilling part. Derek was also known to Henry Wallace. They had been seen drinking together at a local bar just weeks before the murder. Had Henry really seen Mark that night, or had he seen Derek and chosen not to say anything? Detectives brought Derek in for questioning. At first, he denied everything, but when confronted with the DNA evidence, he broke. Derek admitted he had gone to Rachel's house that night. He said he had been drinking heavily and had intended to steal from her. He claimed the confrontation escalated when Rachel caught him inside. In a panic, he attacked her, but investigators weren't sure they believed him. Was it really a burglary gone wrong, or had Derek been there for another reason?
When pressed about his connection to Henry, Derek grew visibly uncomfortable. Henry had been with me earlier that evening, but he left before I went to Rachel's house.
Police now faced an unsettling possibility. Their so-called witness wasn't just unreliable. He might have been protecting Derek all along. In the end, Derek was convicted of second-degree murder and sentenced to 35 years in prison. In 2020, Derek Collins was charged with the murder of Rachel Carter. The trial was grueling. Prosecutors leaned heavily on the DNA evidence while the defense painted Derek as a man with a troubled past but no intent to kill.
I hadn't seen the attack clearly. I couldn't swear it was Mark or Derek. I thought I saw more than I really did.
For Rachel's family, the betrayal was devastating. For years they had believed Henry's account. They had believed the case was stalled because of a technicality. Now they realized the one man who claimed to see everything had, in fact, seen almost nothing at all. In the end, Derek was convicted of second-degree murder and sentenced to 35 years in prison. But for Rachel's children, Emma and Lucas, no sentence could erase the memory of that night. They had gone to sleep with their mother's kiss and woken to a world without her. Rachel Carter's story reminds us of something haunting. Even when someone claims to witness the truth, what they see isn't always what really happened. Henry Wallace said he saw everything, but in the end, his eyes betrayed him. Or maybe his conscience did. And so we're left with a chilling question. When the truth hides in plain sight, can we ever really trust what a witness claims to see?